Hi everybody, I'm Jack Jinseki, and joining me today is Koga Nobuyoshi.
Hello, everybody.
So Koga, what kind of content do you like to make?
The majority of my streams is gaming related streams. However, I do try to mix it up. The second most done on my channel is I call them watch-alongs, where
Mm-hmm.
I do like a that's it's not just me that calls it. It's commonly called this, where you like watch like movies or shows, things like that. And then I also do, and once in a while, I'll do language studying, and then I've also taken up drawing. So there'll be more of that on the channel as well.
So a language study, is that like you learn a different language in front of everybody?
Yeah, like I just go on Duolingo and I do like there's two languages I'm trying to study right now. It's Spanish and Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go on Duolingo, I share the screen and I just I stream myself completing courses on Duolingo.
How long a day do you think you spend on Duolingo?
But not consistent with it at all. Like I'm not consistent with it at all.
Yeah. I was consistent with it. Being consistent with it is overrated. If you only do five, I learned that from a 1,600 day streak on Duolingo. Uh, the thing I learned about Japanese is that you cannot learn Japanese in 5 minutes a day. Uh,
Yeah, well, yeah, no, the lessons that I do because of the way that I do it, no lesson is going to take me 5 minutes. Every lesson's going to take me at least 10 to 15 minutes because I take notes. Like most of the time, for every single question, I'm writing down. Like I write it down how it's said in English, and then I write down the translation so
so,
that I can
oh, sorry. Finish your thought.
yeah so that I can actually like memorize it so that I have the notes and I can actually use it. Because if I don't take notes, I'm not going to remember any of this stuff.
Of course. Uh, what made you want to be a VTuber?
So, what made me want to be a VTuber is number one, my passion for music. I've always had a passion for music since I was 12. Like when I was 12, I performed like for like we were having PSSAs were coming up, and that's like a standardized test in my
Mm-hmm.
state. They were coming up, and my school did these little prep rallies, and my two siblings also were a part of that. They performed with their classes as well, and like I performed with a few other students. And all I know is that once I started rapping, the crowd went crazy, and that from that point on, I believed that music was what I should do in the future. So I've always had a passion for music. I've always loved anime, and then during the pandemic, I took up content creation on YouTube and TikTok, and then I in 2022 I discovered VTubers, and I was completely blown away with the level of creativity because when I was first seeing it, I was a little bit confused. I felt like it was something that probably shouldn't be for me, but the more I noticed that these are real people as well with it's their own personalities most of the time, and it's still the same as if I was doing it in the flesh. It's just through a virtual character. But the big difference for me with VTubing is the amount of creativity and obviously budget that goes into the things that we create for our communities. I feel like the VTubing gives people um, the means of creating really, really interesting, artistic, and just creative material. They could do that as in the flesh too, but I just feel like VTubing because it's heavily inspired from anime. I feel like that's why it makes it really, really cool. The fact that I get to be an anime character is, that's it's very, very cool, and I really give a huge credit to these artists and these riggers because they're busting their behinds, drawing and rigging these models so that people can fulfill their passions.
This VTubing is very much an area where you get out of it what you put into it.
Yes.
So, what was the process for creating your character?
So the process for creating my character was so for years I've been obsessed with this website called Fiverr,
Mm-hmm.
and because I wanted to, whenever I wanted to put out music, I wanted to figure out how to promote it. But I realized that a lot of people will scam you on that site.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really trying to do, like, really trying to look through and find a trustworthy VTubing artist and rigger who wouldn't scam me and who would be excellent with communicating with me. And I came across some great artists. Now, the artist who did my model is different from the artist who did my other model, but either way, both of them incredibly excellent communication. But what I had to do was I had to give them like reference images. Like I had to describe what it was that I wanted, but also give them references so that they can draw all of it. So I had to decide what my character is going to look like, the colors and everything like that. Um, and then after that, it took a couple of months or so, and they had everything ready. And then it was just a matter of figuring out how to set everything up, because it was all new to me. So figuring out how to set everything up, um, and I was ready to debut in January of 2023. I believe I got the model in like November, and then I spent 2 months preparing for my debut. So it was a difficult process trying to set everything up.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got everything set up, it was just I pretty much got used to it over time. But I had to transition from what I was doing previously. Back when I was doing just the edited videos for YouTube, like I was doing everything with my laptop. Like everything I was doing was on the laptop. I had to transition for that because live streaming requires stronger internet speed and stronger GPU processing. So my laptop could not handle streaming in HD at all. Like it had to be 720, and even then, sometimes you would still get issues. So I bought a PC. Uh, my sister bought me a second monitor, and ever since then, I also bought a Wi-Fi extender and an Ethernet cable. And ever since then, the only time I have issues is if I'm trying to. I've noticed because I tried this already. If I try to multi-stream, or if I have multiple tabs open. So to this day, I'm still trying to figure out what's going to keep my streams running smoothly. So stream management is a big skill I had to incorporate into starting my journey.
Absolutely. The management, the stuff, the back end is really where all the time is spent with these things.
Yeah.
For on my part, the interview is an hour. Everything else is where all the time goes.
Oh well, yeah.
So, do you have any lore?
Yes. So when I first created the character, uh, the lore was different than what it's going to be. So the reason why I have a ghost icon on my sweater, first of all, this is not something that I drew at all. Like this was a reference image that I shared,
Mm-hmm.
and they drew the artist drew it and put it on here. But the reason why there's a ghost on there is because at first that's what my concept was. I was supposed to be a ghost. I was supposed to be a ghost, and my lore was that I lived during the Edo Japan era,
Mm-hmm.
and I met a girl who we became friends, and then my parents, who I said were shogunate warriors, they were fighting these really demonic beings, and one of those demonic beings ended up assassinating me. But I woke up in this alternate universe, and I picked up a like this really like demonic looking sword, and that somehow caused me to respawn in the real world as a ghost with immense power. And then I found out that the girl I was friends with went through the exact same thing, but all of that was changed. All of that lore was changed. So right now, my lore, I have it written down, but I have not shared it in its entirety yet because what I want to do is my huge goal as a VTuber is I want to make a video game inspired by my character's lore. So For my I'm saying my character, but for my lore, but and for my lore story, I would not even be the protagonist. My lore story is going to involve a surplus of characters, and how my lore is essentially now the synopsis of my lore is a group of students who are learning karate awaken to the power of a spirit guide after suffering traumatic incidents. So the group of kids, including myself, we've all suffered a traumatic incident that caused us to awaken to what I'm calling a spirit guide. And if you ever play Persona, this is heavily inspired
Mm-hmm.
by the Persona series. So um, I'm not a ghost, but my spirit guide is in Japanese theology the king of the underworld,
Yeah.
named Yama. So I have that spirit guide living inside of me, and he is guiding my every way, and that's the purpose. It has some kind of religious um inspiration as well. So everybody who goes through a traumatic, not literally every single person, but many people in my world who go through a very traumatic experience have the opportunity to awaken to a spirit guide and be blessed with its power, so they can use it for self-defense, but it's also a relationship. So you train with it, you meditate with it, and together you grow stronger. So, and everybody's spirit guide has different, ways of, operating. So you may not one person may not agree with the methods of another spirit guide, but that's just, we can't always have everybody in agreement. So that's the concept of what my lore is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And in years to come, I plan on getting a jump on that. I also want to make an album inspired by my character's lore.
Mm.
So I'm going to do that in the future as well.
So you said you wanted to make a video game. What kind of video game were you thinking? What did you have
So
anything in your mind?
a JRPG
Okay.
style game. So and again, it's going to be very heavily inspired by the like Persona, like Atlas in general, because Atlas's their games are pretty have very similar um,
Mm-hmm.
techniques. So really thank God that I even played any of Atlas's games,
Mm.
because I may not have come to this change. But yeah, so it would be a Japanese role play game, and I would really have to spend a lot of time with game developers and artists putting this all together. So it'll take a long time for me to even be ready to fund all of this.
Mm.
But I really hope that I can get this going. What also inspired this decision was there was a YouTuber. Have you ever heard of Corey Kenshin?
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, so Corey has been out since 2009, but ever since uh, ever since maybe like a decade into his career or so, he would disappear for a long time
Mm-hmm.
and then finally come back. So this one particular time though, he was gone for about a year and a half,
Mm.
and then he finally came back. He finally came back and announced that he had been working on a manga. So he had worked with writers and artists, and he was able to release a manga, and he dreams to have it adapted into an anime.
Mm.
So the manga is called The Monsters We Make, and so that inspired me. There was like, if this guy was able to get an entire manga published, you know, and inspired by not entirely inspired by his own like persona, but um even though I think he did kind of incorporate himself in the game a little bit,
Mm.
but um his community is called the samurai, so I feel like that's kind of why that's kind of had some inspiration for this manga. But I told myself, if he can do that, then maybe I can do something really special for my character as well. So
What's your favorite accomplishment of your channel so far?
my favorite accomplishment was being able to have a collab stream with three other content creators, two other VTubers, and a Flesh streamer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I have really been struggling to be able to do that. Like I've asked, like, how do you go about finding people to collab with, and they essentially were saying that Twitter, there are Twitter communities where they've gone in and they've because and I'm thankful that people told me about the Twitter communities because
Mm.
that's how I had that's how I met you first of all,
Yep.
and that's how I've interacted with other people on there. So, but I did this collab because I went on the search and just did hashtag collab and
Hmm.
looked at a bunch of posts that people were tweeting about wanting to collab, and I found this one person who I'm going to talk about later in a different question you're going to ask me. Um, that she had tweeted that she wanted to do a collab for Halloween, and I said that I'd be interested, and I'm really am thankful that I was able to have that collab on the channel.
Cool. What did you do during your collab?
So we played a game where we were carving pumpkins, and then but I realized that was only part of the game. That was also kind of like a free roam kind
Mm.
of game. Then after that, we played Gartic Phone.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Uh, what's been the biggest change to your channel since you started VTubing?
So stream management, it has been the biggest change, transitioning from the edited videos, primarily edited videos, to now primarily live streaming,
Hmm.
and having to, like I mentioned, having to buy more equipment and having to learn how to adjust to, my internet speed and my GPU's process, what my computer can handle, and just all the things that go into it. Like I've ran into so many issues, like on the chat being delayed, and the stream losing quality because the processors um like not strong enough, or because I got so many different things open, and also when I was doing edited videos, when I was recording for edited videos, I never recorded for nearly as long as I stream.
Hmm.
When I'm streaming, uh, I stream much longer than I've been doing recorded videos for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do, like recorded videos I've done for maybe a couple hours or less. I stream like I'm not an endurance streamer, but I do have some streams that I've gone over 4 and 5 hours. So having to get used to streaming. That when I first started streaming, even after 2 hours, I would get headaches. But
Yeah.
as I got used to streaming, I was able to do like the 3, 4, or 5 hour streams and not really feel much afterwards. So, but I also try to not do not do too much because I do still get the headaches sometimes.
Hmm.
And thank goodness these computers and these monitors now have settings for like eye comfort now. So because otherwise a lot of people would have issues.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
That's the thing about long streams is that you would think that since you're just sitting in front of a computer, usually playing video games, oh, I can do that. I can do that for several hours, and then you actually do it, and you're like, this is this is exhausting.
Video games, it's different from watching the TV. Like watching the TV, even for a long time, you might feel tired, but video games, you are much more immersed.
Hmm.
And I feel like the camera motion, there's a lot more camera motion, there's a lot more things happening that's really gonna get to your eyes and your head. So yeah, it's yeah, like I tell people I am not an endurance streamer. I don't know how people are able to stream for pretty much their entire day. Like 12 hours is not a whole day, but that's a whole day for me.
Hmm.
Like people stream for like the 10 hours or so, and I'm just like, for me that's the whole day. Like I have no time to do anything else.
So, what do you hope to accomplish through your channel?
So I strongly hope that number one, I can release that album that I mentioned, and I hope that to be able to create this video game. Like
Hmm.
that it's gonna be like way in the future. But even if I'm not around anymore, like I want this video game to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and for people to know that I was doing this, before this game came out. So those are the two biggest things that I want to be able to accomplish. And I guess the third is I always talk about wanting to get a 3D model so that I can do like performances and stuff like that. But I need to get a bigger space before I think about doing stuff like that.
It kind
But
of oh, sorry.
yeah, but yeah. So just the I just love seeing 3D live performances. You genuinely see that with like the agency of VTubers.
It reminds me a lot of of something I once heard. They said that the three keys to immortality is either write a book, write an equation, or have a kid.
Uh,
So I would say that writing an album would fall on, or writing an album or writing a game would fall under the book category.
yeah, because I'm like if I'm not streaming anymore, I want this to be something that people can you know can go and enjoy.
Absolutely. Who's a VTuber you'd love to talk to, and do you have anything that you'd want to ask them?
Okay, so I read that question wrong the first time then.
Uh,
Um, so okay, so somebody who I love to talk to, like meet for the first time, like somebody who I idolize
yeah.
and would want to meet because yeah, now I have a different answer because I was gonna say the person that I collabed with, but somebody who I can talk about her too, but yeah, um, my I call this person my reason for VTubing,
Mm-hmm.
and I mentioned agency VTubers because she is from Hololive,
Mm-hmm.
and her name is Calliope Mori.
Yep.
She's my reason for doing this. She's my inspiration, and she's many people's inspirations.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, her ability, her rapping ability, and her immense work ethic. She draws stuff for her own videos. She writes her own music. She's fluent. She's not 100% fluent, but pretty much fluent in Japanese. So she utilizes two languages in her music.
Mm-hmm.
So I always look forward to the music that she puts out, and I love watching her perform
Mm.
at HoloFest especially. So
Yes.
yeah, she is definitely somebody that I would love. Like every VTuber that I watch, I would love to meet in person. But yeah, Calliope Mori, like if I could actually meet her and have a conversation with her, would be awesome. Now she's like you ever get that satisfaction when you comment in a streamer's comment section and they notice your comment and they respond to your comment.
Yep.
She's responded to a couple of mine
Nice.
before, so that's I'm happy about that. And I mean like not super chats, like just regular comment that the streamer notices. Because yeah, she's noticed a couple of mine, so I'm happy about that.
And
Because
what's more
even
that you? Oh, sorry.
yeah, because even a simple interaction like that is that's enough to make me very happy.
I totally get that. Especially considering that they have like the slow mode on, and I don't know what
Yeah,
happens on the back end of the slow mode. So I don't know what they actually see, what the streamers actually see.
yeah, it's impossible to notice everybody commenting when you're that popular and you have the comments rapidly scrolling. So
Absolutely.
it's impossible to notice everybody's comments.
So did you have anything that you'd like to ask Maury?
Um, oh right, so well let me think about this now. Like,
Take your time.
well, you know what? Because I don't really know what the answer for this what this question would be. So I would probably ask her who inspired her. Like
Mm.
first of all, what inspired her to um join Hololive and do what she's doing now? Because I know she was doing music before she was in Hololive, so music has always been her passion as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what inspired her to make the change to VTubing, and who inspired her to do everything she's doing now?
Mm. So your ideal stream. Who are you inviting?
So I guess here as well, I'll talk about the person I collab with.
Mm-hmm.
So I've invited this person already multiple times because of that collab that we had. So the person's name, her name is Luna Faye, and she streams on Twitch. I don't know if you want to just add her, like if you find her, if you want to add her like little picture or something on the screen on the VOD.
I
She's a
don't usually do that, but what I'll
you
do
don't do
is I'll put a link in the side chat or something.
okay. All right. Yeah. So her name's Luna Fay,
Mm-hmm.
and I found her because of my searching for people who wanted to do collabs,
Mm-hmm.
and I told her that I would be interested, and ever since the collab, we have become good friends, and we've done a cover song together, so that's on my channel as well, and because she's a good singer, she has an incredible personality, so and her channel is continuing to grow. She's getting more supporters, and that's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like to invite her whenever she's available, and I do try to watch her streams whenever she's streaming, and try
Mm.
to contact try to chat in her streams. So yeah,
Nice. So, yeah, how many VTubers do you think you watch in like an average day?
so that's a major problem of mine. Like I'm primarily watching VTubers on like throughout when I'm off, like
Hmm.
when I have days off, even when I come home. I'm primarily watching VTubers to the point now where I don't even give myself time to watch anime anymore, or like other shows unless I'm like eating food.
If you don't,
So
oh sorry.
what,
It,
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, do you enjoy watching that many VTubers? Because one thing I've noticed is that as I've gotten to know more people, I want to support all of these people because they're really nice people. But I
Yeah.
also I also have limited time, and so if I don't watch someone, I might feel guilty about it. And I'm starting to learn that I got to take like a step back from that so that I can have a life outside of this. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, no, I've missed out on plenty of my friend Luna. I've missed out on plenty of her streams,
Mm.
and I felt bad about it. But I understand, and I'm sure she understands. We all have a life outside of just streaming ourselves and also watching other people stream. We have other things that we're doing, so we're not always going to be available for to watch people's streams. And also, there's a thing called time zones as well. So
Oh yeah.
her time zone is not the same as mine, and a lot of other VTubers, their time zones do not line up with mine at all. Like a lot of people who are streamed from Japan,
Mm-hmm.
they're streaming when I'm asleep.
Yes.
So I don't get to watch, I don't get to catch all of them live most of the time. But that's why I'm very thankful for these clippers,
Yes.
just because that's the best way I am able to still keep up with what they're doing. But yeah, like I have to have followed hundreds of VTubers between YouTube and Twitch now,
Mm.
because I seriously enjoy the VTubing community, and that's why now for the last few streams I've tried to promote that I want to raise money to support the VTuber, primarily small VTubers, but
Mm.
really any VTubers. Like I want to raise money to support my own channel, but also small channels as well.
Mm.
A lot of other VTubers as well, because I want to show my appreciation for the VTubing community.
Absolutely. So, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to be an entertainer?
So the advice that I want to give, and this is especially after I saw a TikTok post
Mm-hmm.
of a woman uh, crying because she received a negative comment
Mm.
about her the art that she was drawing, and she said that that comment made her quit. Oh, it
Mm.
eventually she came back, and what I commented on her video was what my advice is going to be. But do not ever allow someone to make you quit on your passions. Like no one should make you want to quit on your passion. Your passion is your purpose. If your passion is drawing, then a negative comment is not enough to make should not be enough to make you quit. Especially when you have a surplus of people who support what you do, because they are who matter. The people who continue to support you are who matter.
Mm.
So never allow a negative comment to make you give up on your dreams. Like your dreams are your purpose. Like they're important for you. So the only thing that should stop you from doing your dream is personal reasons, like your health or your family, something like that. That's the only thing that should stop you from fulfilling your purpose.
I would suggest to that person that if one person was enough to make you feel that way, after 100 people do it, you stop caring.
Yeah.
You stop caring what people say after enough people insult you.
Yeah.
And then you can just listen to the people who you actually do care about.
Man. Like, cause I remember when I talked about Calliope Mori, when she had held a stream a long time ago where she allowed the supporters to ask questions, and of course you got that one person who decides not to ask a question but to give an insult, and she said that, she responded by saying, if this person was, I'm paraphrasing, but basically saying, if this person was, wise enough, they would just, if they didn't like me, they'd just leave me alone.
Yeah.
They wouldn't waste their time commenting, like they would not waste their time and probably money, typing in an insult so that it could be shown on my stream. Like that's just a waste of your time. If you don't like somebody, if you don't like their content, if you don't appreciate what they do, then just leave them alone. Why try to make their life miserable?
It is admittedly a very strange way to insult someone. Hey, thanks for the $5. You can call me whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
So, uh, what was your gateway anime, and what drew you to it?
Oh God, I read that wrong too. I read Getaway, but either way, Gateway anime. Even though this isn't my favorite anime, the Naruto is really what I grew up on, because I played multiple uh, games, Naruto games. My friends owned the Ultimate Ninja games, and then I played the Storm games. And I've also obviously I've watched the show. So that was pretty much like my childhood. Not my favorite anime though, but that was my childhood. The childhood anime for me.
Yeah, Naruto is one of the gateway animes for me too. The first one I tell people is Detective Conan, because that
Okay,
that
yeah.
was on Adult Swim at 5:30 in the morning. I would get up every morning that summer, even though I was a kid at the time. Getting up
Yeah,
that early was absurd, but
yeah.
I wanted to watch
That's
it.
dedication right there.
Yeah. And Naruto was probably the second one that I really got into. And I
Yeah.
watched that back when it was first debuting with the English dub.
I was
Back
gonna
on.
say, like back, that's one of the animes where I'm okay watching it in English or Japanese, because usually I prefer not to listen to English voice acting. I prefer to listen to the Japanese, especially because I'm trying to learn that language.
My only holdout with Naruto, as far as the dub is concerned, I can't stand the voice actor for Naruto. Everyone else is great.
Believe it.
Yeah, I know. Everyone else is great, but believe it, I just it.
It just I was all right with it, but yeah, the believe it.
Yeah. Uh, so
Melly Flanagan. I'm pretty sure Melly Flanagan. That was her name. Yeah, I'm all right with her. Um, but yeah, primarily I prefer the Japanese for any anime that I watch. I prefer it in Japanese. Sometimes I'll pick like whatever show I'm watching. Sometimes I'll switch to the English just to hear a little bit of what it sounds like. Then I'll switch back.
yeah.
Um, is uh like in Spy Family, like Anya's English voice, like when I heard her English voice, I was like, kind of sounds like Gouda a little bit. Kind of sounds like Gouda. Um, but so I thought that was kind of cool.
Enjoy saying that name while it lasts.
Exactly. It's really sad to see her leave, but uh, she created a legacy that will never be broken, and so I've commented that on a tweet. It's like she opened the door for so many people.
Absolutely. She, as far as I'm concerned, for a significant amount of time, she was the face of VTubing.
Yeah. So even if she doesn't want to be thought of in that way, it's just her level of popularity surpasses anybody else in the VTubing sphere. So You know, it's amazing how quick it was for her popularity to become what it was. You know,
it it's almost in a way as though she surpassed herself. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Where the icon became bigger than anything that anyone could have imagined.
And you know what? I feel like um, a big reason for this is because of what she was doing before she became Gura.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was popular before she was Gura as well. A lot of these VTubers in Hololive, they were already popular before they became Hololive talents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't want to say any names, but there was a song that was popular on TikTok. It
Mm.
was a song that she made prior to becoming Gura.
Yeah.
So I feel like people knowing that that was her voice, they probably transitioned and then they probably came in and started following her immediately. So that just lets me know that you know whatever she chooses to do next, I hope she still chooses to stream because if she does, then she is somebody that I would
And
definitely continue watching.
and we already know that there are certain former members of Hollow Live who don't appear to have visibly suffered from leaving.
Yeah, yeah, and but this tweet angered a lot of people. This person had the nerve to tweet that a reason for Aguda leaving is profitability, and I'm just like I don't know whether that's true or not, but I'm going to go on a limb, and I went on a limb and said this anyway. But why on earth would Gouda have a problem being profitable?
No,
Like
no.
why would Gouda of all people have an issue being profitable?
Well, no, no. I think that the comment would be that if she was to go strike out on her own, she wouldn't have to give a massive chunk of the profits to the Hollow Live company, and they probably were, soaking her for all she's worth, because that's how these things play out. But honestly, uh, I don't think it was that myself. I think it was. I think that certain people in Hollow Live saw the writing on the wall regarding um, the Hollow Live becoming a corporation and going public. I think that
The,
they realized that the management would change significantly, and I think that it has, and that has been a
yeah,
problem.
that's why a lot of people when they left they said that the company is moving in a direction that I can no longer agree with. There's been disagreements with management. A lot of people have left, but that's why I dropped the dream of trying to get into a VTubing agency. Like seeing the levels of graduations, I was just like, is being in a VTubing agency really worth it? Because the biggest benefit is that yes, you get the exposure, but hearing about people feeling defeated or burnt out,
Well,
it's like me like you're like there. I once heard somebody say, "Don't make your passion your job,"
mm,
which I agree and disagree with. Like your passion should want your passion to be your job, but at the same time, it shouldn't feel like a job. Like it should not feel like, oh my god, this is such a chore. Like I don't want to do this anymore.
well, I not to go. Sorry, kind of going a little off topic with this,
Yeah, sorry.
but no, no, no. I am. Um, I think that there are very specific instances where the corporate model actually works, and that is if the leadership is very concrete. It's like one person, and that person gets it, and then they know they have a good way of basically wrangling the talent, so to speak. I think that in that particular scenario, it works pretty well. The organization that comes to my mind is Phase Connect. I think that they've done very well with their model, from what I've heard.
Okay, yeah.
But other than that, like the publicly traded corporation model, it doesn't sound like it works because there's no clear. Because generally corporations, they don't necessarily have that clarity behind them.
Yeah, and I've seen like the all these other companies. It's really a shame because I've watched so many other agencies fall apart, and it made me want to watch Hololive more. And now over the last year, it feels like Hololive is moving in a direction that it's causing them to slightly fall apart now as well. Just so many people, like 8 people, have left in the span of a year from
Yeah.
Hololive. Now, not everybody left because of the same issue. So I know one person, it was a personal issue.
Mm.
One person was terminated. One person was a personal issue, but several people left for the same reason, including the Mume and Gura are leaving for similar reason. Mume is also health, but she's
Hmm.
also mentioned the thing about management and the direction the company's moving in.
If you could go to an anime convention tomorrow, whom would you cosplay as?
So I'm not too interested in the cosplay thing, but if I had to
Hmm.
pick somebody, I would probably do like Link from the Legend of Zelda. Specifically, I like
Hmm.
his outfit in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I like that outfit. So yeah, I would do Link. That would definitely be a hard one though, because he's got a lot going on. That would be a hard one to pull off because
Yeah.
he has a lot going on, like the armor and everything.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, Legend of Zelda, I've never actually played one of those games before.
Tears of the Kingdom was the first Zelda game I ever played. I didn't
Mm.
play Breath of the Wild, but I watched people play it. Tears of the Kingdom, that was the
Hmm.
first Zelda game I've actually played.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I haven't, except for Tears of the Kingdom, I've not touched the Zelda franchise.
Which game? Excuse me. Which game did you have the most fun playing on stream?
So the most fun, I wrote one answer, but I'll say two.
Hmm.
The first one was Tears of the Kingdom because, despite the criticism that it got, I don't understand it. I do have some criticisms for the game. Um, the game, just I watched gameplays of Breath of the Wild, so I know that the Tears of the Kingdom gameplay feels incredibly similar.
Hmm.
The gameplay is very, very, very similar, which they're not going to change too much because it's still a sequel to Breath of the Wild. But like when I say the gameplay, I mean how you go through the game. It feels very, very similar to Breath of the Wild, but there's obviously some new things. So what I enjoyed about this game is just like Breath of the Wild, first of all, being as incredibly open world as it was. Tears of the Kingdom did an incredible job re-upping this because they did, like I said, they added some new elements, and it was just really annoying at first, but then when you look back on it, incredible. Um, how you traverse this really huge world to find these different locations and the different people, the quests you go on. It's a whole journey with that game, but I also really enjoy the soundtrack for Tears of the Kingdom
Yes.
because there are so many songs in that soundtrack where it starts out slow, but this is primarily the tracks that are very long. They start out slow, but every minute or so it picks up. It starts to pick up. You start hearing more instruments come in,
Hmm.
and the feel of the song starts to shift.
Yes. The
Like
music
there's a
swells.
yeah, it swells, yeah. So there's multiple tracks in this game where it feels like that. There's many throughout this soundtrack. It was just a phenomenally done game, and I cannot believe I put the game down for 8 months before finally coming back to it. I literally stopped playing, and then I tweeted that I should not have stopped playing it, and I was afraid that when I re-downloaded it that I was gonna have to start the whole game over, but luckily I didn't have to. My information was still saved, so I didn't have to restart at all. That was thank goodness I didn't have to start over. But
Yes.
now the next game that I enjoyed playing for the almost full year that I spent playing it was Persona 5 Royal. That's the best game I've ever played.
Hmm.
Now, biggest criticism of the game before I start talking about the things I loved.
Of course.
Biggest criticism of the game. It's it's minimum 100 hours long. The minimum.
Wow.
I spent 120 hours in this game only to still miss out on content because I found out that if I wanted to play a specific part of the game, I would have had to done something much earlier in the game
Hmm.
within a certain time. that made me so upset. I was like, because it was related to my favorite character in the game, Kasumi.
See,
It was related to her. I didn't get to play her side story,
yeah.
with the Maruki Palace and all that. I didn't get to play that part of the game because I didn't like. You were supposed to rank up the social links with her and Maruki within a certain period, and I didn't get that done in time, so I completely missed out on that part of the game. That made me very upset. But other than that, and also despite how terrible I was starting out in this game and how frustrated I was playing through it, that was the best game that I've ever played. It was so long, but the amount of content and effort they put into this game is incredible. First of all, incredible soundtrack as well. Really, really incredible soundtrack. All the Persona games have incredible soundtracks.
Yes.
But and like I said, Persona 5 in particular what's inspiring my character's lore now, because I'm obsessed. I've become obsessed with this game to the point where now, originally for the cosplay question, I was going to write Joker because I have a Joker costume that I wore for Halloween, but that's not it's not necessarily a cosplay. Um, it could be, but I know that cosplay, there's a lot more that goes into that. So, but Persona 5, I love the characters in the game. I love the relationship that the Phantom Thieves have with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I hate Akechi, but I love everybody else. Um, so yeah, I really do. I really did enjoy that game, but I told myself though, is it worth replaying the whole game to try to get that part? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I am not going to put myself through all that I went through just to try to get that part, because that was like, I was so bad at the game that for the majority of like the last half of the game, I played it on the easy difficulty,
Mm-hmm.
because I was that bad at the game, where like if I even had it at normal, I was getting my behind whooped.
Yeah.
Because the problem in this game is it's much harder to create powerful personas in Persona 5 than it is in any of the other games,
Yes.
because they don't just gift you personas. You have to negotiate now. You have to negotiate with them now.
Mm.
Like you gotta hold them at gunpoint and negotiate with them now.
Mm.
And if you don't do it right, then they're not gonna lend you their power. So now I was able to, thankfully, create some very, very good personas in that game,
Mm.
but I am doing much better in Persona 3 Reload than I am in Persona 5,
Mm.
than I did in Persona 5 Royal. I'm still playing Persona 3 Reload on the easy difficulty because I really don't want to struggle so much, but I've been really kicking behind in Persona 3 Reload compared to what I've been doing in Persona 5 Royal. Um, but I've just realized I've never even mentioned to you. Um, I have two models. I did mention this, but I should tell you that the second one's female. The second one's a female model. Her name is Yami. I mentioned that I met a friend in the previous lore. I met a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So this friend is still involved in my lore. Her name is Yami. She will be a character, a part of my lore. And so if you go on my streams, I use she's the one that does the Persona 3 Reload streams. So you'll see her um, tomorrow. Actually, I'm streaming that tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Um, so yeah, you'll see her for that game. And but yeah, so this Persona series, really, really well done. They came out Atlas came out with Metaphor, but I'm not enjoying Metaphor as much as I've enjoyed Persona at all.
Mm-hmm.
I keep giving Metaphor a chance because I know it won Game of the Year, but as so far not as interesting as the Persona series.
Mm. So, what games are you looking forward to?
So yeah, I mentioned
The.
that there's going to be a new Zelda game
Mm-hmm.
coming out for the Switch too. The Age of Imprisonment is the name of the Zelda game coming out. But before that comes out, I want to play Age of Calamity because
Mm.
that's the prequel to this upcoming game. and wow, these are really far apart. Age of Calamity, I watched the gameplay of that. That came out during the pandemic. I
Mm-hmm.
watched somebody play it in 2020. So this is 5 years apart.
Wow.
And so, but you know that Tears of the Kingdom was heavily delayed because of the pandemic. They announced the game in 2019. It didn't come out until 2023.
Yes.
So heavily delayed because of the pandemic. So I'm looking forward to that game, and then especially after watching the Switch 2 Direct for it, I definitely am looking forward to Mario Kart World. I
Nice.
really wanted to understand what they meant by it's an open world game because how can Mario Kart be an open world game? And I was like, wait a minute, are they gonna make you? And then just what do you know? They exactly what I was thinking. They are doing it. So now they have an element of the game where you literally got to drive yourself to the courses now. You have
Wow.
to drive yourself to the courses, and they have a free roam function in the game where you can just drive around with yourself or with friends. So I think that's going to be really awesome
Mm.
to do that. So
Uh,
yeah, looking forward to all those.
nice. Your friends just dropped in to play video games. What are you playing?
So games that I would love to collab with. I've done Lethal Company once already,
Mm-hmm.
but Repo is. I think Lethal Company really started a movement here because you had content warning. Now you got Repo. You also had the other game. I forgot something protocol, but
Mm-hmm.
that's more like Among Us. Um, but yeah, games like that, and also like game shows kind of things. Like I love Gartic Phone's another thing. That Jackbox
Mm-hmm.
games like that, just multiplayer games or survival games or game shows, stuff like that. That's what I'll be playing.
Mm.
I know what I will not be playing again. My friend again. She had been asking me forever to join her in Fall Guys, and I'm sorry. Like I am not doing that again because when I tell you I didn't win a single thing when I played um when I played Fall Guys with them, I did not win a single thing. Like I did not think Fall Guys was that difficult. Um, I mean, it looked difficult, but I didn't think it was that difficult. Like it felt impossible to move at times. Like it felt impossible to move.
uh,
So you know, like I still got the game. I still got the game on there if she wants me to get in there. But I will not be looking forward to getting on Fall Guys again.
hmm.
That was a mess. I joined her because it was her anniversary stream, so I joined her for that, and they are lucky they didn't have me on mic because they would have heard me getting upset that because I was not winning a single thing.
Uh, so this is where I like to change things up a little bit, ask some more random questions. Which do you
Okay,
prefer, Elvis or the Beatles?
so I feel like I'm more know of the Beatles.
Hmm.
Like I know some thanks to Lilo and Stitch especially I know about Elvis's music,
Hmm.
but I think I prefer the Beatles. I think I prefer the Beatles.
You're on a boat with friends. Which artist are you listening to?
So I am definitely putting on either Calliope Mori
Mm-hmm.
or another Hololive singer. Her name is Soisei Hoshimachi. Um, both of them just my inspirations music wise. My inspiration for pursuing music.
Nice. What's a movie you can pick up in the middle and watch all the way to the end?
So ever since a kid, my dad had me hooked on Transformers,
Hmm.
the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
Oh yes.
Those movies all got terrible ratings, but I loved them.
They're,
I loved all of them.
they're not
Um,
they're not supposed to be great. They're Michael Bay
and
movies.
that's the thing. Like these critic ratings, they can be very very harsh. Like the first movie especially was that's obviously the best one. But well, it's not my favorite one, but that's the best movie.
Hmm.
That's in terms of how it went and everything. That's the best movie, but it's not my favorite. My favorite one's the third one.
Hmm.
I like the whole plot twist that goes on with the third movie. I can see why the ratings were not good. There were certain characters in there, Ken Jong, certain characters in that movie that I can see that they probably pissed off a lot of audiences.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, especially Sam's new girlfriend. Oh my goodness. I know people did not like her.
So, would you ever talk to a stranger unprompted in a public setting?
Absolutely not. Like I'm incredibly introverted,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends. It may depend on who you are, but on most cases, if I'm on public transportation or in a public setting, I'm not opening my mouth around people I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Which do you prefer, chess or poker?
So, chess. My dad and then also in high school, people have taught me about chess. That's a very, very interesting and strategic game. So that really makes you think. I
So,
actually owned a video game on my PS2 that was for chess, and I like we barely touched it, but we did. My brother and I we did look at it one time.
nice. What's a household tool you can't be trusted to use?
So this one was a difficult one for me to think about because I've used plenty of them because my dad's a contractor and I've helped him a lot. Like
Gotcha.
I said hammer drill only because that's a more heavy duty tool. Like usually the heavier stuff my dad will take care of himself, will take care of himself. Um, he'll let me do the lighter stuff, like
Nice.
now when I say lighter stuff again, I've done plenty of things with him, like screwing in flooring,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, like building frames, stuff like that. So
Oh, cool. So I guess that there isn't a household tool that you're not trusted to use.
yeah, yeah, no, not really, because I've helped my dad's a contractor. I've helped him out enough to, and also I work in a warehouse like store where they sell stuff like that. So
Hey, great skills to have.
yeah.
What's a school project from your youth you remember fondly?
Let me see which one did I. Oh yeah. Um, the science fair projects that I
Mm-hmm.
did throughout elementary school and middle school. Like we always dreaded this, but when I look back on it, it was a journey. And my mother was always the one there helping me through it,
Mm-hmm.
and we really thank God for that because, um, seriously, first of all, choosing a topic was difficult. Like if I were to do it now, then yet I trust myself now more to come up with a more interesting topic. The topics that I came up with were not all like the most interesting one that I did was probably the one where it was based on popcorn, different types of popcorn. Um, but next one that was probably the most like adventurous one was the one where I dug up different types of soil, like different types of like soil and dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Like we went to multiple areas to dig up different soils, and then we did this thing where we we completely stunk up the house because we had to put it in layers and then put it in the oven to like
Yep.
dry it up,
Mm-hmm.
and we completely stunk up the house, and we couldn't really do anything about sticking up the house that much because this was during the cold seasons. So if you open the windows, it's just gonna get very cold outside or inside. But yeah, like though it was always a journey, having to go to the library to get books and research, because at the time we weren't, for some reason, we still weren't using the internet enough
Mm-hmm.
back then. Um, well, we didn't have that many computers back then. Um, yeah, I'm saying back then. I'm not old, but it was still during a time where we didn't have that many computers. Like I didn't own a laptop or anything like that. So we were going to libraries to grab books and do our research.
Yeah.
So like looking back on it, that was a excellent time that I spent with my mother, and she got me and my other two siblings through that.
I do have to ask. This is going to be very, very geeky, but I do have some familiarity with this topic. When you were drying the soil in the oven, were you trying to get a soil moisture content on it?
So I'm trying to even remember what it was that I was trying to do. I'm trying to remember what was the purpose of the entire, like what was the
Because
what
Because
was the concept of the whole project?
I do know that that is a thing. If you want to measure the amount of moisture
Moisture.
soil
And I think
generally
you know what
holds.
I think it was it had something. I think it did have something to do with moisture because I
Yeah.
do remember wetting them at points.
Yeah.
So I think it may have had something to do with. I think it may have had something to do with moisture.
Yeah. I'm sorry to tell you this, but in my profession is the profession your dad hates. I'm an engineer, so
Okay.
just a heads up. Uh, so, what's your favorite thing you've ever cooked yourself?
Um, so the favorite thing that I've cooked myself, um, so the pancakes is one thing
Mm-hmm.
because I always was afraid of doing that on my own, afraid of like not flipping it properly and messing it up. But I've made some good pancakes.
Hmm.
Um, they probably could taste better, but I mean I'm proud that I was able to do it. Um, um, yeah, so that's probably the best thing that
Oh
I've
yeah,
done.
I like pancakes. Uh,
Yeah.
what's the worst thing you've ever cooked yourself?
So the worst thing that I made for myself, I put down turkey hot dogs
Hmm.
because for whatever reason I decided for a while to drop the beef hot dogs and switch to turkey hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They don't taste nearly as good
No.
as the beef ones do. So that's after that I decided to drop turkey related stuff like turkey bacon, because that's another thing. Turkey bacon is nowhere near as good to me as the pork or beef bacon,
Hmm.
and so I know that pork and beef are not necessarily the best for you at all, but they taste a lot better than these substitutes.
Turkey bacon is kind of like disappointing spam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, well, spam, yeah, no, yeah, because spam is very good, but
Hmm.
yeah, turkey bacon. I Now my sister eats that for a reason. She eats that for a reason. She has dropped beef from her diet,
Hmm.
so she eats bacon for a reason. But for me, I don't necessarily have a reason for wanting to drop anything.
Where would your ideal home be located?
Either New York or LA, even though I know that there have been plenty of people who say like don't live in LA or don't live in New York, it's too expensive, or there's nothing in LA other than the food. But I feel like those are since they're the two biggest cities in the country, they have the biggest opportunity. But yeah, either New York or LA. Like it would suck to be so far. If it was LA, it would suck to be very far away from the family. But if it's New York, then hallelujah, because I go to New York all the time.
Hmm.
So New York is much closer.
Yes. So, you find $20 in the street. What do you buy with it?
Probably just some food. That's if I like just because I don't really know like where I'm gonna go to a store and buy something like a lot of stuff that I would want to buy is gonna be something that's online.
Mm-hmm.
So probably just some food.
Yeah. All right. Uh, which board game have you played that would be most likely to cause a brawl?
Either Sorry or Monopoly. So
Monopoly.
because I know like now it's never happened to me, but I know that those kinds of games, especially Monopoly, could be triggering. I was gonna say other games, but they're more like card games than board games. But yeah, Sorry was just a hilarious game. Um, and then Monopoly, I've never really. It took me a while to even understand how Monopoly even works. But but yeah, that's a game that I know makes people frustrated.
The thing about Monopoly that makes it so in especially in my family so likely to cause fights is that it's a game of attrition. You have to whittle people down slowly over the course of hours until they die.
Yes.
So
Like I feel like is that a kind of game where do people will just target you? Like will people just target you in that game? Or oh well, I feel like yeah, because they want to own a certain property, or they want to like buy a certain thing, so they'll do whatever they can to keep other people away from it.
it's
What?
difficult to target people in Monopoly. What it is easy
Okay.
to do is just to become really petty and vindictive towards everybody else
Okay.
for not doing the things you want them to do.
Okay. Yeah. I have a technical question real quick.
Yeah.
I just noticed on the top right, it's showing me the kbps. Like I constantly get notifications like from YouTube saying like your current bit rate is either too high or too low to maintain smooth
Mm-hmm.
streaming.
Yes.
But is there even a way to change that? Like if you're already live, like there's like does it just mean you have to like close out of certain tabs or just help the computer to not be running so many things at the
I
same time or
as someone who as someone who's run into this problem many times, as far as I know, there is no way. It's really just kind of sometimes the magic works and sometimes it doesn't.
yeah. All right.
I mean, if you know what's causing the problem what's causing your computer to be throttled, that's one thing. But sometimes it's just like the internet is being finicky right now.
Yeah. All right.
So, if you could wake up with one talent tomorrow, what would it be?
And then my rapping ability, like I have like I remember somebody asked me like how do you do that? Like how do you become like a good rapper? And I was like, well, there's a like anybody can sing, anybody can definitely rap too. It's easier to rap than it is to sing, unless you're talking about live performance, because rapping it probably takes a lot more out of you when you're performing. But yeah, rap is just a lot of people get the misconception that rap is just about rhyming. But I've come to learn from learning from many excellent rappers that rap is about telling a story and also being clever with your lyricism. Like punchlines and stuff like that you know and I'm still not I'm not the best at it in the world, but I absolutely have taken inspiration from some of the greats in rap you know so my rapping ability, it would suck to lose everything else that I've learned, spent so much time learning. But yeah.
If you could talk to a historical figure, who would it be?
I would love to have met and talked to Martin Luther King Jr. because like any kid that learns about Martin Luther King Jr. is going to have their life changed for the better. They're going to feel inspired because like everything that man did for us, of everything that he tried to do for the country, and it's really a shame. The fact that his life was cut short tells you all you need to know about our country. The fact that people saw people like Martin Luther King as a threat to society, it's just like it tells you what's wrong with this country. Like if because Martin Luther King could still be alive today, like yes, he would be quite old, but he could still be alive today, and he would still be seeing like because I don't remember how old he was when he died.
I think that was back in the 1960s. He would have
Yeah,
probably
it was
been
late
like in
'60s
his
when he died. Yeah.
he would have been like early 30s, I think.
Okay, I can probably Google it real quick. Um, okay, he was born in 1929. He died in '68. So yeah, he
Yeah.
was just shy of 40 years old.
Yeah. He
So no,
would
he
be
probably
like, yeah, if
he
he
would
was
probably he probably
alive.
would be
Oh,
dead
sorry.
by now. He probably would have been dead by now. He probably would have been dead by now, but he would have at least lived to see a lot more of presidencies, and he would have lived to see what was going on at least like a decade ago or so. And yeah, he would have definitely lived to see the first black president in the United States being elected, and I'm sure he would have been very very happy about seeing that.
Do you collect anything?
No, I don't collect things now. I Right now I don't really have enough space, so. whenever I get my own place, I'll try to decorate it with more things. Like I know people, a lot of gamers and streamers, they have these incredible setups. They got like all these like Gundams that they built, or these Nendroid figures. I have one Nendroid figure on my desk, and then a little mat, uh,
Hmm.
an anime themed mat that I use have my keyboard and mouse on. Um, that's pretty much it for decorations.
And my final question of the evening: what smell reminds you of home?
Yeah, this was the interesting question that I was trying to think about. Like I said air fresheners. Like whenever people have air fresheners, like in, I noticed that there are certain air fresheners that I put in my room, and when I smell it, I'm like, okay, I remember a long time ago when I've used this exact same one. So yeah, that's like I said air fresheners. Like how about you? Like, do you have a have one?
Uh,
Because this was definitely an interesting one.
yes. For me, that would be my mother baking. Uh,
Oh, okay,
like
okay,
she would before she's a very good baker, and she would make like apple pie, for example, and the
okay,
smell of baking and cinnamon would be throughout the house, that kind of thing.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my mom cooking is gonna feel nostalgic all the time because now that we're all older, she does not do it as often because we try to step up and do our own cooking.
Of
But
course.
whenever she does, it does take me back to kids. She would come home from work and get right on to the cooking. It just again you appreciate the amount of work that the parents put in
Oh yes.
when they're providing for the children. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all I have for today. If you're watching from the audience, you can find Koga on various platforms that will be linked in the description and in the side chat. Uh, Koga, thank you very much for joining me. I've had a great time.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I've had a great time as well. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. And with that, thank you all for watching. I was your host, Jack Jinseki, and joining me today was Koga Nobuyoshi.
Yes, thank you all for watching. Please continue to support Jack and we'll continue to create for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye, everybody.